Okay, so good day everyone. Today, I will be discussing your Module 4 in HMP 12, Lesson 3, which is the meat. So here in the Philippines, meat from herbivores of beef cattle, sheep, goat, and swine serves as the most common source of meat and complete protein. So meat from other animals are commonly less eaten. Meat is generally defined as the muscles of animals, but in the broader sense, it also covers the organs and glands obtained from the animal. Although the word meat includes the flesh of poultry and fish, these are each covered separately. So we have here first the beef. Beef originates from cattle that are classified according to age and gender. So first we have steers. These are male cattle and are castrated while young so that they will gain weight quickly. Next, we have bulls. Consumers often do not see the tougher meat from bulls. So these older uncastrated males that provide stag meat are usually used for breeding and then later for processed meats and pet foods. Next, we have the heifers and cows. So heifers, females that have not born calf. So they are also used for meat. The meat from cows or female cattle that have born calves is less desirable than that from steers and heifers. Okay, next we have calves. Calves are 3 to 8 months old and are too old for veal and too young for beef. So if they go to the market between 8 and 12 months, their meat is referred to as a baby beef. Pork. Okay, pork. Young swine of either gender, male or female, is slaughtered between the first 5.5 and 7 of age are the most common source of pork. Technically, pigs are less than 4 months old and hogs are older than 4 months. So about 1/3 of all pork is sold fresh and the rest are made as ham, sausage, luncheon meats, and bacons. So next we have the structure of meat. So meats are composed of a combination of water, muscle, connective tissue, adipose or fatty tissue, and often bones. So the proportions of these elements vary according to the animal and the part of its anatomy represented by the cut of meat. So here we have the muscle tissue. So most of the proteins are found in the muscles. Leaner cuts of muscle tissue yield lesser calories. So the muscle characteristic is important when deciding how to prepare a meat or ratio to fats. The flavor or taste of meat depends on muscle fiber composition and its ratio to fats. Next, we have the connective tissue. Connective tissue is a part of ligaments and tendons, and it acts as the glue that holds muscle cells together. The most abundant protein in connective tissue is collagen and elastic. Collagen are tough and fibrous but converts to a gel when exposed to moist heat. Collagen concentration also increases as animals ages, so which is why meat from older animals is tougher. So the type and amount of connective tissue found in the meat cut determines its tenderness or toughness and the best type of cooking method. Elastin, cartílago, or gatil in Filipino is a yellowish rubbery and does not soften when heating, so it should be removed before preparation. Adipose or fatty tissue. So adipose tissue is simply fat, which serves as an insulation under the skin and as padding for internal organs. Fat found within muscles is called intramuscular fat or marbling. So marbling, fat deposited in the muscle that can be seen as little white streaks or drops. So marbling contributes to flavor and the juiciness of the meat. Bones. So bones are used as landmarks for identifying the various cuts from a carcass. So older animals have whiter bones while younger animals have reddish bones. Marrow is also part of the bone. So it is a soft fatty material in the center of most large bones. So if you are familiar with the food bulalo, it is usually an ingredient, a very special ingredient used for the food bulalo. So marrow is valued food in many countries as it provides much of the flavor in stocks and soups. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the basic bone identification chart, whether it's pork, beef, or lamb. Okay, terminology of retail cuts. So the use of the standard system of naming retail cuts is not mandatory. So consumers often face additional confusion at the market. Cuts can be divided into, first, we have the head, jaw, the neck, the blade shoulder, the arm, the hock, the loin, the spare ribs, the belly, the sirloin, the ham, and the back hack. Okay, so that is the cuts of pork. Next, we have the cuts of beef. We have the neck, the brisket, the chuck, the foreshank, the rib, the short plate, the short loin, the sirloin. We also have the tenderloin, the top sirloin, the flank, the rump cap, the round, and the shank. Okay, so these are the examples of the terminology used in retail cuts. So we have the kind of meat. We have beef, veal, pork, or lamb. It is usually listed first on labels. The primal wholesale cut, we have the chop, the rib, loin, or round. It tells where the meat comes from on the animal. The retail cut, we have the blade roast, the spare ribs, loin chops. So it tells from what part of the primal cut the meat comes. Beef retail cuts. So rib, short loin, and sirloin wholesale cuts lie along the back of the animal and are usually the most tender and expensive cuts of beef. So these are the rib, short loin, and sirloin. So these are, if you buy it in the market, it is an expensive cut of beef. Next, we have the rib roast. So these are the most tender roast, and tenderloin, the most tender steak. So filet mignon is the small end of the tenderloin. Next, the least tender wholesale cuts are the flank, the short plate, the brisket, and the foreshank. So take note of those beef retail cuts. Next, we have the pork retail cuts. Pork is usually tender regardless of the cut. So wholesale loin and spare ribs cut of pork are much longer than beef and lamb because the rib and sirloin are not separated in the carcass. So the leg is the largest primal cut in the pork because pork is slaughtered at a young age. Pork legs are very tender for roasting. Okay. Next, we have the following wholesale cuts provide the majority of fresh pork retail cuts. So we have the loin, the pork loin chop or roast, Canadian style bacon, pork loin tenderloin. Spare ribs. So we have spare ribs, bacon, salt pork. So that is the fresh pork retail cuts. Next, we have the variety of meats. They are also known as organ and offal. So they can be either organ meats or muscle meats. So organ meats are very soft, extremely tender, and easily cooked. Examples of which are liver, kidneys, and brains. So muscle meats require long and slow cooking as they are heavily exercised muscles and are quite tough. So examples of which are tongue and heart. Okay, so next we have the processed meats. About 1/3 of all meats is processed by different methods such as curing, smoking, canning, and drying, meaning it has changed from its original fresh cut. Example of which are ham, sausages, and bacon. So ham is cured pork, and according to USDA or United States Department of Agriculture standards, only meat from the hind leg of a hog can be labeled as ham. Bacon is cured and smoked meat from the side of a hog. Next, the sausage. Sausage is a meat that has been finely chopped or ground and blended with various ingredients, seasonings, and spices, so it is then stuffed into casings or skins. Okay, so that's it for our Module 4 in HMP 12, Lesson 3, which is meat. I hope you could play this video so that you can understand the lesson on my discussion and study well and have a nice day.